In order to improve your strength, flexibility, and the balance, you will need to understand the benefits of each exercise, its functions, common mistakes, and how to move in an optimal way. We're going to cover sit-ups, crunches, reverse crunches in today's video. If you want to learn how to retrain your body and then movement safely and then effectively and then move better, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. I am Taro Iwamoto. I am a Feldenkrais practitioner. With my backgrounds in athletic training, physical therapy, martial arts, and the Feldenkrais method, I have helped many people like you overcome and then move beyond the pain and the limitations. Now it's your turn, and let's dive in. So the benefits of the sit-ups and crunches, rather obvious, and to strengthen the flexors, your abdominal muscles. And functionally speaking, and how does that help functionally? And well, it helps with the balance, believe it or not. For most people and who have normal, rather healthy tone of the strength of the flexor muscles and then extensor muscles, then you don't really feel like you are engaging those muscles to maintain your balance against the gravity. But let's say you had any neurological disorder and all of a sudden you lost the strength of the flexor muscles, then all of a sudden you become so unstable and you can't hardly stay still. And then as you're starting to lean back, and then there's nothing that can keep you from falling back, and then you lose your balance and fall backwards. So that's the fundamental function of the abdominal or the flexor muscles. Flexor muscles, I'm talking about the flexors of the hips and flexors of your spine, flexor of the neck. And all those muscles are working together to maintain your balance against the gravity. So let's talk about the common technique mistakes. So sit-ups and crunches are a little bit different, but let's start with the crunches. So the common mistakes, there are many variations, as you know, of the sit-ups and the crunches, but just the simple crunches, doing like this, right? And so the common thing is it's straining the neck, and they're trying to lead the movement and with the head and trying to push the head forward. Excessive strain on the neck, and not really understanding the purpose of the movements and the functions. So that's why they're trying to do this. And then in an effort to do the crunches, and then they ended up in a strain in the neck, doing this. Or hands behind the head and trying to push the head too far forward. And that happens too. And another obvious one is holding the breath. It doesn't really help at all. So make sure that when you are doing any exercises, and it's typically not a good idea to hold your breath. So how to improve and how to move in an optimal way. So remember, this is to coordinate and strengthen the flexors. And flexors, that is not just the trunk. Flexors neck, flexors the hips, they all work together. So I'll make it very, very simple. With your legs bent. And as you're starting to do this sit-up or crunches motion here, so think about pushing the lower ribs down into the floor. And think about pushing it through. And what happens when you're starting to push through that ribs, and that is starting to round your spine and round your ribs, and starting to lift your head, right? As you're pressing through the lower ribs into the floor, and begin to lift your head as if you wanted to look at your belly. And at the same time, think about tucking your tail. So you're rounding from the both ends. without holding your breath. And then slowly letting go of the pressure on your spine, on your ribs. And bringing your head, bringing your tail back to the neutral. And if this strains your neck too much, support the weight of your head with your hands. While you're doing the same thing. So you're using your hands only to support the weight of the head, so you're not moving your head and pulling your head down. Okay? But organizing and coordinating the entire flexors so that by pushing through your ribs and down into the floor and then lifting your tail. And typically, it helps to exhale as you lift and round so you can shorten the front. As opposed to inhaling as you're flexing, then you can't really fold yourself as easily. So exhale. Then as you return, and then breathe. Inhale. Come back. So those are the coordination that you want to work on. So the sit-ups and the crunches are more of a coordination exercise to me to organize all the flexors so that you're not excessively using one part more than the other ones. Commonly, the neck is the one that the people overuse when they do the crunches. But that's not really the purpose of this exercise. And for most people, they want to simply strengthen the abdominal muscles, right? But think about movement, and think about movement. This is the flexion movement. So you want to engage all the flexors all together. And a simple cue of pushing the rib cage down and lifting your tail and bringing your head down to look down towards the belly. And you may support your weight of the head with your hands so you don't end up in stressing your neck. So that's the basics of the crunches. And if you're doing the reverse crunches, and why is it called the reverse crunches is because you are flexing from the bottom and you're reversing the order of the flexion. Instead of lifting the head, you're lifting the other end. Like so. So this time you don't lift your head, but you begin to lift your legs and then lifting your tail up towards the ceiling. And when you do the reverse crunches, you also want to think about pushing through the ribs into the floor. Without holding your breath, and it helps to breathe out as you lift your pelvis, as you lift your legs. You think about lifting your tail up towards the ceiling by pushing through your ribs. That makes a difference. You don't think about it, and you're trying to work here, and then you don't really know how to move and flex from this way. So really think about pushing through here, which will bring your tail up. And as you exhale, slowly lower your legs down. And one thing you want to be aware when you do the reverse crunches is that when you do this one, it's going to pull on your neck because you are still engaging the whole flexor muscles. And the flexors are starting to be engaged and then starting to pull your head forward directions, which may strain your neck. So if you have neck issues, and then just to be mindful of this exercise and making sure that you are not overstressing your neck muscles. And you may use a cushion and the blanket underneath the head so that you can support the head. I know there's so much to simple exercise like this, right? But that's what makes a difference, knowing what to look for. And then you can get more benefits out of this exercise. And sit-ups quickly is slightly different from crunches. So it's starting with the same movement patterns of flexing, organizing the whole flexors, right? And then you continue to go into this way. Oops. Now let's quickly do the sit-ups. Sit-ups are a little bit different. And it starts with the crunches and the same movement patterns of organizing the flexors. And then as you are coming up, and then you are now transitioning into the extension patterns. So that's a difference. So as you continue, okay, I'm going to cheat a little bit so that I can show you the movement. So continue to do the, you start with the crunches motion, flexing, and then as you continue to flex, up, 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 and then at some point from the flexion, and then you're starting to now extend, and then lengthening the spine and come up. So you don't flex all the way, flexing, and then as you are coming up to sitting up position, and then starting to actually sit more vertically, and then lengthening the spine. So you're moving from flexion to the extension. When you finish, now you're in a slightly extension patterns, and then going back, you're reversing it, and then you return into the flexion, flexing, flexing, flexing. And back, as if you're putting one bone down at a time, which is not easy. So the sit-up is not easy. It requires a lot of control, eccentric control and concentric control. So being able to come up, organize, coordinate the flexors and then extensors. And this part, returning part, is even more difficult than coming up part. Here. And back down. Flexing, 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 flexing. I'm gonna cheat. Flexing, flexing, and then it's starting to extend, extend, extend. Here. All right. So that's the sit-ups, crunches, reverse crunches. Just to remind you quickly, the benefits is strengthen, organizes, and strengthen the flexors, organizes and coordinates the flexors, and which helps with the balance, believe it or not. And so be intentional with your crunches or sit-ups or any variations. And simple cue, pushing through your ribs. And that will help and starting to engage that flexors and starting to round the entire spine, distributing effort more evenly so that you don't end up in stressing any one part of your body. If you want to improve your back pain, be sure to grab your free movement guide to pain-free back at the link below. Check out these videos, and if you like this video, and hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe and share with your friends. Comment below how helpful you found this video was. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Happy mindful movement. Bye-bye.